You started speaking of removing poverty and through the actions of small-scale industry and businessmen. That sounds to me like a shift away from the old socialist vision that has characterized the Congress Party for a long time. And even within the Congress Party, I think there was an op-ed written in the Hindustan Times recently arguing for a more leftward shift in the Congress Party. But you seem to be arguing and articulating a slightly more center-right vision, at least as far as economics is concerned. Is that where you think the party should go?
The left-right idea, it works very well in Europe and the United States. It doesn't work so well in India. I'll give you an example, right? In the 70s, Congress Party does bank nationalization. It's the same party that does liberalization. And they're the opposite thing, right? And then you can see that the same party on one hand is doing liberalization, on the other hand is doing Narega, right? So actually, what the Congress Party does is respond to situations. I mean, people say, oh, you know, building the public sector in the 60s was not a good idea. Well, there was no way of building anything other than the public sector in the 60s. But the Congress Party moves from the 60s to the 70s to the 80s to the 90s to 2000 to 2010. So we're not really bound by whether this is left or it's right and we're going to shape ourselves as a left party or right party. We're saying, listen, what needs to be done? Do we need to push small businesses? Is that good for India? Good, let's do it. Do we need to support agriculture? Good, let's do it. There might be a contradiction, but you can't carve the Congress Party in that way.
I think if you're actually looking at India, the 25-year time frame is way too small. 1947, we took a huge step. We got independence, and we started a process of transforming India. In fact, the process, it started even before that. It started when Mahatma Gandhi came, and you can take it back. You can take it back all the way to the first war of independence. But a sort of awakening happened in India, and India began to transform. The main transformation was an India that used to live in villages, an India that didn't communicate much, didn't talk to each other much, started to move. And this movement started slowly. Democracy helped it, telecommunications helped it, but progressively this movement started to become faster and faster. 92 was an important point because we took some decisions on opening up the economy. There were earlier very important points: the Green Revolution, the White Revolution, bank nationalization. There are a number of steps, each one empowering India in a certain way. After 1991, the movement accelerated. And basically what has been happening since 1991 to today is urbanization has speeded up and certain questions are being asked. India and China are basically the biggest migrations of people that history has ever seen. It has never happened before at this scale ever. Right? One is democratic, free, the other is controlled. And so the central challenge that we're facing, and we've been facing from 91, is how does this movement progress and how do we make this transformation from a rural economy to a modern urban economy? The central question is how does India give its people jobs? Because off the back of jobs, you can create a vision. If you, as a modern country, are unable to give your people jobs, it's very difficult to give them a vision. There are a couple of challenges that India is facing. The single biggest challenge, and I'll give it to you in numbers, 30,000 youngsters come into the job market every single day. That means within 24 hours, 30,000 new Indian youngsters come into the job market. Today, 450 of them are getting a job. I'm not even talking about the unemployed. I'm saying that every single day 30,000 new people come in and only 450 of them get a job. This is the biggest challenge in front of our country. And this challenge is going to be addressed by building a unified approach, by bringing people together and addressing this problem. We discuss everything in India. There's a divisive politics going on in India. But the real challenge facing India is out of 30,000 new youngsters coming in, 450 are getting a job. You can imagine, as this process continues, what the result will be. India simply cannot give its youngsters a vision if it is unable to give them a job. The Congress Party has a vision to solve this problem. And I will tell you a little bit about this vision. Currently, the entire focus is on 50 or 60 really large companies. We believe that if you are to create millions and millions of jobs in India, it has to be done by empowering small and medium businesses. It has to be done by empowering entrepreneurs.